And welcome to the 13th episode of the Fleet Nation podcast with your host, It's Just Miss Wells. You all know that you can follow me on Instagram at It's Just Miss Wells, and make sure that you're following the Fleet Nation podcast at the Fleet Nation podcast. And tonight we've got a beauty with a amazing story. Alantra, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey guys, my name is Alantra. I am an artist. Just dropped a new single called "Get It." You guys can follow me on all social media. All social media platforms as well. Alantra_worldwide. And thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. So I want to kick this conversation off by telling people what your name stands for, because outside of it being beautiful, it has a phenomenal meaning behind it as well.
Yes, it does. So, Alantra is actually a Latin word which means powerful and complete. And for me, the name, I embody that name because it's me coming out of a healing stage. So, taking control back over my life, getting my voice back. So, Alantra is me. I am Alantra.
There we go. So tell us a little bit about your musical journey. Where did you get started, or where did you find that passion at?
Okay, so I initially started music in church with my grandma as a kid. I actually found myself, me and my siblings, my grandma, we would, for fun, she would be on the piano and we would be singing, playing church. And then actually in church, we would sing in the choir. And then as a young teen, I started to do chorus overseas. And then as a young adult, like after I graduated high school, I started to take on doing covers to different R&B songs. I just recently started rapping the past 2 years, and that's coming out of my healing journey. The aggression behind those vocals just comes from the different pain and trauma that I've been through. I'm using it as an outlet.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your overseas journey, because I heard you mention that also.
Yes, so I was born in Georgia. I moved overseas at the age of 3, England, Mildenhall Air Force Base. Thank you to all my veterans. That's how I got over there. My dad was in the military. And then I actually moved to Germany after. Then I moved to Japan and I graduated in Sicily, Italy. So I consider myself to be a real foreign babe.
To say the least. How do
Yes.
you feel like that has influenced your musical background or your musical sound?
Overall, I think it allows me to, I adapt well to change. So I don't like to put myself in a box. It allows me to be able to be in tune with different types of music, different types of artists, different types of people, because I've been around different cultures and I've actually lived in those cultures for each place that I lived in. It was about 3 to 5 years. So as a young child, you eat the food, you learn a little bit of the language, you learn the culture, there like different things like that. So I think for my music, it just allows me to think outside of the box, to just be in a different lane, if that makes sense.
It does. So, out of all of the places that you have, well, in your younger years, out of all of the places that you traveled to, what was your favorite and why?
Okay, so I would have to say Japan. And I say Japan, and I'm going to stand by that because the food is so fresh. And when I tell you, like, as a kid, you don't think about portion control, right? But I can appreciate the portion control that they have in Japan. And then, like I said, the food is fresh. The people are so nice. The island, I lived in Okinawa, Japan, so it's just a little small island, but the island was clean. The criminal rate is low. Like they have no tolerance for crime over there, honestly. So it was just like living in harmony. And as a kid, you don't really think like that. But as I reflect as an adult, I'm like, wow, like we were living like really, things were just kind of all in sync and real structured.
Yes.
Like, so that was my favorite place.
Now, can you speak all of those languages, or which ones are you fluent in?
None. I'm not fluent in either. I know like little words from each language, but I took Spanish. I should have. I didn't. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I should take Japanese or Italian. It's never too late to learn now, but I should have done it then.
Okay, so let's switch over and talk just a little bit about your musical influences. Who would you feel like has been some of the biggest influences on the styles that you are curating to this day?
So when I start to think about musical influences, I like to look at Grace Jones. And I say Grace Jones because when I started to get into music and looking into like stateside, Grace Jones just stood out to me because of her ability to cut through, and she was the first one. Like she put herself out there
Okay.
without unapologetically at that. Like everything she did, the way she dressed, her imagery, everything just stood out, and she stood apart. And so, like for me, that's my goal. I want to cut through. I want to be something fresh and different to the industry. And I know that a lot of artists say that, but like that's what I'm really aspiring to do.
I love that. You hear a lot of mainstream type names, but that is the first time, and she's very well known for her influence in this particular industry. But you are the only person that I have heard that has pinpointed her as someone that has influenced you. And as I listen to your music, I can definitely see and hear tones from her style that are
Mhm.
reflected in the work that you're putting out as well. Talk a little bit about when you first decided to come into the industry. What were some of the obstacles that you faced starting out?
Okay, so for me, the obstacles that I faced would have to be personal. It was more so getting over the fear of entering in or the fear of allowing myself to do what it is I actually want to do in life. Like so often I think that people, we say we want things, right? And then sometimes we are scared to take those risks or we're scared to do the next step to get those things. So for me, my main obstacle was myself. I had to overcome myself in order to get to what it is I wanted. I had to get out of my head. So I can't, that was my main obstacle, getting into this industry.
And what did it feel like when you got in the studio and you created that first project and you listened back to it?
So going in initially, I was super, like first time going into the studio, just kind of nervous, like, oh my gosh, because again, this is me coming out of a healing, like this phase of getting myself back, rediscovering myself as a young adult, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, my voice, I'm just feel like I'm getting my voice back, and now I'm magnifying my voice. So at first, I'm getting in the studio, I'm like, okay, I'm nervous. I'm super anxious. And then to hear everything come full circle, like I'm very proud of my single that's out right now. Like that's my baby. That's my first baby. So I'm super proud of it, super excited. Like just to see how other people resonate with the song and how like it makes people, like people are just rocking with it. People that I don't know me. So like for me it feels good. I just see people like they rocking their heads to it and just the good feedback is like, okay, I put myself out there. I I was nervous, I was scared, but this is all worth it in the end. So I'm just really excited to see what this industry has in store for me and what this song has in store for me. So I'm very proud of it.
So I want to jump into this song, but before we do that, like out of the interviews that I've been able to listen to from you prior, you talked a
Mhm.
little bit about what space that you were in when you were creating. Do you mind sharing a little bit about what you had to work through to be able to get to that point to start recording to lead to where you are right now?
Yes. So for me, when I first started working on this song and decided to take my artistry serious, I was coming from a place of, like, again, finding myself. I had lost myself because I was putting a man first, I was putting friends first. I let different life circumstances, people talking bad about me, people making me feel like I wasn't good enough. I lost complete confidence in myself. Also, at that time, I became a mom. So, um, I think oftentimes women, we feel like, oh, I can't do this because I have a child. So you just different things in life. I put myself on the back burner. So going into this, it was like, okay, I made this decision. I got in the gym first. That was me showing my team, and that was me showing myself that I was disciplined. I lost 50. I can't pinpoint exactly how many pounds, but I can. when I look at the pictures, it's drastic.
Yay.
I was like 220, and I'm like, I ain't gonna tell you my weight now, but basically that transformation.
You look good now.
Thank you.
Was
That
beautiful
transformation.
then, but fine now. Girl.
Yes, thank you. So that transformation in the gym just let me know, like, okay, we tried this gym thing before, but now I've taken control back over my life. So let's get into it. So the constant drive for me when I'm in the studio and I'm trying to create, when I'm getting, maybe if I'm, let's say I'm getting distracted or I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like I'm getting, my main fuel for all that is all the reasons that I had back then that I couldn't do it, or I put myself on the back burner. That's the fuel for me right now. The way that people made me feel, that's the fuel that I use right now for me when I'm in the studio, when I'm in that booth and I'm rapping. That's where all of that energy, all that comes from. And then it's just for me to make a statement to women like myself, like, I don't think I'm different than any other woman, right? So I just want to be a person that shows them, like, no matter what you go through in life, no matter what people make you feel like, no matter if you become a mom, no matter if you lose yourself, you can always pick yourself back up. It's never too late for you. And just keep going no matter what. You only cheat yourself when you allow life circumstances to hold you back.
You know what? I'm so glad that you dove into that, because there's so many women that will say, "Well, I'm a mom," or "I don't have the appearance," or "I've got all these things that are going on." And instead of you allowing those to be a roadblock for you, you allowed it to be fuel and motivation to help you get to that next level, which is what more of these young ladies need to understand. Like, nothing has to stop you from achieving your dreams. The
Right.
only thing that will do that is you and your mindset. So once you change your mind about it and you decide that's what you want, then you'll be committed to the process that you need to go through. And I love that you highlighted that you started with the first step. You didn't try to go in and say, I'm going to go record, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You picked one thing that you wanted to focus on to show your team the commitment. And then everything else from there just started to flow in and work to your advantage. So
Right.
kudos to you. I had to make sure that we talked about that on here, because a lot of women don't want to talk about the uncomfortable part of it. They
Right.
just talk about when they got there.
Right. And
So,
like, I think in this, like, you see a lot of people talking about healing and all those things. Like, that's a lot, like on social media. So you see a lot of stuff like that. So sometimes I think people don't really know what healing is. Like, everybody has their own version of healing. So
yeah.
it's like, it is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable, but like that growth in the end, when you can reflect and you're like, wow, this is where I was 6 months ago. This is where I was a year ago. You just like you. That's a reason for you specifically to be proud of yourself. Like, I did that. I overcame those obstacles. I didn't let those things hold me back or hold me down. Instead, I used all of this to accomplish this where I'm at today, and look at me now, and look what
Yeah.
I'm going to be here. So like that's what Alantra stands for. That's what I'm here to do, is to use the music, use the platform just to encourage. Like, I'm here to encourage. I'm a girl's girl. I want to encourage women. Put yourself back together. Go for everything you want in life. It could be anything. It could be small. It could be big. Like, put yourself back together and go out there and get it. Okay.
Listen, and do it for you. Not
Right.
one
No.
time did you say, I did this for this person, for that person. And I'm a mom, and a lot of the times I'll say, I'm doing this for my kids. And that's a good stimulation. But at the end of the day, that's still not enough for
Right.
you to put in that extra grit, grind, and have that appreciation at the end of it, because it is something that is for you as a mom, that's
Mm-hmm.
responsible to giving so much more of you to everything else around you. So kudos
Absolutely.
to you. Okay, so again, I listened to a few of your interviews. I've been low key like stalking, so I do want to ask another question. And that's about when you dance, because that is also something that women have a stigma about. And I really love the way that you positioned it and you educated people about it. See, do you mind telling us a little bit about that part of your journey as well?
For sure. So again, had a kid. 9 to 5 just wasn't cutting it. It just doesn't. The economy just doesn't allow that to be enough at some point in a one parent household, right? So I started dancing. I had some friends that were dancing. I got into it. Started off at like once a week, and for me, the money was amazing. I've been to Nashville, Tennessee. I've been to Miami. I've been to Atlanta. All off of dancing. People come and they sing for me, and it's kind of how I gained my traction on social media. Of course, doing photo shoots and just being out there in those different environments and networking. And at that time, I wasn't pushing any type of music. I was literally just going to make some money. So, in the midst of getting known and making this money, the money had got so good for me. I ended up quitting my 9 to 5 job, and just doing this because it was making me so much revenue. So, I got complacent with that for like a year. I got real complacent with just dancing. And I started to learn like, okay, I would go there, I would be grateful for those nights, and then I would come home and I just started to find myself like I didn't feel complete. It didn't feel like I was doing what I was destined to do. And that might sound crazy, but you have this feeling like if you know you're supposed to be doing something more, and then you have people that's telling you that. So I started to like pray and I'm asking God, I'm crying at nighttime sometimes, like, what is my purpose? So with that, it just felt like I didn't fit in the dancing world. Because with dancing, it's like Russian roulette. Some nights you make a lot of money, some nights you don't make any money. So it's like a bargain when you're doing that. And it's nothing wrong with dancing. So when I'm telling these stories, I want women to know, like young girls or whomever, however age, whatever, whatever your reasoning is for dancing, it's okay. But go into it with a plan. Don't allow that world to consume you, because when people tell you make the money, don't let it make you, they mean that, because some people get so intrigued and so weighed in by the fast money that they lose sight of their goals, they lose sight of themselves, and you just have to always stay in control. So like for me, I treated dancing like a 9 to 5. Like I would go to work, and when the night was over, I went home. I didn't do too much after the club, like hanging out. I didn't do too much drinking there. And then, you mingle, you do what you do while you're there. You mingle a little bit, but for the most part, I kept it very professional. So, and in that world, you just have to know when you're going into it, so many different personalities in regards to dancers, in regards to customers. You have to have thick skin, because even if you're not a person who likes to deal with a lot of chaos or drama, it naturally flows to you. So you have to know how to carry yourself in those positions. You have to know how to carry yourself because you are working a sex worker type of job. You have to know how to carry yourself when people might make advances at you. For me, that was the most difficult part, because it's like, I know I'm doing this. This is work for me, but can we get some respect? And sometimes people, I think they look at you different when you're a dancer. Like, you don't deserve respect that people that don't dance get. So sometimes I stood on mine. You're gonna respect me. This is a job. I'm just here to dance, and I stood on that. So my message to everybody is, if you're going to do it, go into it with a plan. Don't let it consume you, because it will weigh you down and you can lose sight of yourself. So always stay strong, get in and get out.
But do you think that prepared you for the music and entertainment industry, because it's so similar to how you have to have that same mindset in the industry that you do when you have to dance?
And honestly, when I look now that you're saying that, I imagine it is. And that's why I'm grateful for my journey specifically, because when I came from overseas, I was kind of green. I didn't know a lot. I wasn't really street smart. So I would say that the dancing gave me that. I had that insight. I was able, like, you're able to watch. I sit back and I'm able to observe. So I sat in the corner. I will, kind of observe how things are working. I learned how to stand up for myself in that, in that world, things like that. So yes, I do think that it has prepared me for the industry that I'm going into, the industry that I want to be, So I'm grateful for my journey. And again, if you're doing it, take something away from it, like I am.
Mhm. Okay, so now let's talk about the team that you have around you
Yeah.
and how that team is helping you really move yourself forward.
Okay, so my team is amazing. I am signed to Unity 7 Entertainment. I love my team. They go above and beyond for me. I'm gonna say that in every interview because they do. When I'm sleeping, they're working. They're up before me, they're working. So I say this: if I miss a day in the gym or I go to the gym and I'm not really feeling it, I'm too tired, I almost feel like I'm disrespecting my team by not giving it my all. They are great individuals who have different accolades already in the music industry. Some that have worked with Jaheim, Cardi B, Michael Jackson. So I work with an amazing team. Unity 7, Gutta Keys, Barry Bonds, Jay, Beverly Page, just an amazing group of people. And they have allowed me to actually go through artist development. And I call it boot camp because that's what it feels like sometimes. Different levels of boot camp. But in the end, it is preparing me to be an all around an artist. So I'm grateful.
I love that because you have a lot of independent people that come in and think that independent means I've got to do all these things by myself. And
Right.
although you are signed with a label, I need people to also understand what a label can do for you when you are with the right people. It's
Right.
not just about joining a team that has a name or even other people that are underneath them. You have to join a label that is going to be as committed to you as you are committed to the music. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you have been able to find that, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes. They like
Um,
great team.
so now, do you write or do you have people that write for you, or is it like a collaborative process? Or talk a little bit about how your creative process works.
Okay, so yes, I do write. My creative process kind of goes like my producer. He might hear like he creates the beats. So each beat's just organic. So we kind of just vibe out to the beats. We vibe out. I might ride with the beat for a couple of days, write, and then I'll go into the studio. Of course, I don't finish a song in one day. Coming into the industry, coming into taking the artistry serious, I don't know why my mind thought that you just go in there, you lay the track once, and that's a hit. I don't know why I thought like that, but I go in there. I might record it tonight and then I'll ride with it. My producer's gonna ride with it, and then we'll come back, or he might hit me. I'm like, oh, I didn't like this part. He's like, oh, I didn't like this. So we go back to the studio. I might tackle one song a couple times, 3 to 4 times, until it's kind of like where we feel it is supposed to be. And then from there, we still gonna ride around with it for a couple days just to make sure that it's we're hearing it how we're and how it was envisioned when we first heard the beat. So that's how all my songs come about. Just starting with the beat, riding with the beat, then the writing process begins, and then recording.
So now let's talk about this track
Let's talk.
that was the instant favorite of mine. I'm telling Classic. We got to push this to all the DJs, and we got to get this in rotation like ASAP. But go ahead and set it up for the people so they can know a little bit more about it as well.
Yes, so my new hit single, Get It, has been released. I will be releasing the music video for that September the 5th. The message behind Get It, it is a movement. And I say that because it says get it, right? For me, it's motivating people to get up and go get some money. It's motivating you to get up no matter how you're feeling. Get up, get it, let's get it, let's get it, like let's get it. And again, coming from that word of putting myself back together, the song is high tempo. So it's high tempo. I found myself even as of late, like working out to it in the gym. Like it's a great song. The energy of it just makes you want to move, make you want to go and just get it. So I advise everybody to go stream that, go get that, and let me know how you guys are feeling about that song.
And mark your calendars because she says September 5th, we're going to
Yes.
have visuals to it.
And you
if you
don't want the visuals are they hot. I don't want to toot my own horn, but they hot.
I was just getting ready to say that from the little snippet that I seen on Instagram. I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good one. So I'm definitely tuned in. I've got my calendar marked so that way once you drop it, I can support it in any way that I possibly can from the Fleet Nation podcast. But Alantra, I always want to make sure that I ask just a really, really odd question for my people when they come in. So for you, what I'm going to ask is, if you were a day of the week, what day would you be?
Okay. If I was the day of the week, I would be Wednesday. And I'm gonna say Wednesday because they call Wednesday hump day, the middle of the week, like you're getting through. So you're not the weekend where you're going to party, but it's like that in between of the work week. It's like that where you get that breath of fresh air where you're almost to the finish line. I will be Wednesday because I enjoy being a breath of fresh air. That's what I enjoy being.
Well, I love that because I chose Wednesday too. And when I had Olivia on the platform, she chose Wednesday as well. So all of my women are choosing Wednesday, which means that's just the best day of the week. If you
There we go. We know what's going on.
We do. And we give that midweek vibe. We give that energy that's going to pick you up, carry you through, and set you up for that weekend. So, yes, I love it. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Fleet Nation podcast, where we interview industry tastemakers and celebrities. You know that I am your host. It's just Miss Wells. And Alantra, before we wrap this up, if you've got one piece of advice that you want to be able to leave to an artist, a music professional, a young lady, or even a man that's following behind you in your footsteps, what would that one piece of advice be?
Yes. So, word from Alantra. Always believe in yourself, no matter what. Never lose sight in what you believe in and what it is you aspire to do. And at the end of the day, always pick yourself up and keep going. The race is only lost if you don't keep going, if you don't keep trying. So keep going.
Well, tell these people where they can follow you, your movement, and remind them just one more time what's happening on September the 5th.
Yes, so first and foremost, September the 5th, I will be dropping my visual to my new hit single, Get It. Again, September the 5th, tune in. It will be everywhere. And you can go and download Get It right now, all streaming platforms. Follow me on all social media, Alantra, ALANTRA_worldwide. I want you guys to leave comments, like, share, comment, subscribe so that I know you're there. Connect with me. I want to know you're there.
All right, you guys heard it from Alantra herself. Until next time, folks, this does wrap up episode 13 of the Fleet Nation podcast with your host, It's Just Miss Wells. And we can't wait to see you again on episode 14. Until then, we are out, folks.